Hey guys, welcome back to Powerstroke Boys. Today's video I want to show you guys how to upgrade your factory Ford power steering in your 1999 to 2003 7.3 Powerstroke. Let's get started. Alright you guys, here's my beautiful 2002 7.3 Powerstroke. Has a T4 swap, has a custom intake, custom catch can setup, the whole 9 yards. The one thing it's lacking is the power steering. This truck has got 2 remanufactured power steering pumps, which are right here hanging off the accessory bracket. You have your alternator, your power steering pump, and your power steering pulley. This is a diesel, not a gasoline engine, meaning we don't have a brake booster like the OBS trucks had, and then they had a vacuum pump and all that stuff. Here they had a different accessory bracket. You know, the AC compressor used to sit on this side in the OBS trucks. In these trucks, you have your Hydro Boost, which runs off your power steering pump. Your power steering pump runs your Hydro Boost, which runs your brakes, and power steering pump also runs the power steering, so you guys can turn easy. Now, these trucks on factory tires are great. Some of them can have a brand new reman Ford power steering pump. On stock tires, still can't turn. This is just a Master Pro reman, I believe it is. It's also got a new pulley on it. And the one thing in these trucks is the power steering is always lacking. When you guys lift them, like my old man's truck, his is on 37s, on 22x12s. Those tires are like 150 pounds a piece. They're ridiculously heavy. Now, trying to turn it at a standstill, it's not going to happen. He's got the dual steering stabilizers on the bottom. He has to get that truck rolling with momentum. Then he can finally start turning. Being a crew cab long bed makes it even worse because the radius on the turning radius on those trucks is horrible to begin with. This one's not so bad. It's an extended cab short bed with the 2008 axle swap. I can turn this thing around in a cul-de-sac if I wanted to a million times. The people that have researched the forums, Google, things like that, you guys know there's a company called PSC. It's a conversion kit, bolts right here with a big, nice aluminum power steering reservoir. It has a hydraulic ram that attaches down here to your tie rod, and basically it pushes with a hydraulic ram to give you guys hydraulic ram assist steering. Now, that's great, but that kit's like $1,200. The power steering pumps, I don't believe they actually manufacture the original style pump anymore, so you have to buy like a Saginaw power steering pump, I believe it is. Don't quote me on that. I've done very little research on it because it's expensive. And when things are expensive and they really don't benefit me, I tend not to pay attention to it. Maybe you guys are the same way. Back to square one, how can we upgrade the factory power steering system? Well, number one, you guys can do a fluid flush. A lot of guys will recommend running a full synthetic ATF fluid in here, which has the expensive Mobil 1 ATF synthetic fluid in here. And it quiets it down a little bit, but it still has that power steering whine, even though I'm on 20x12s on a 275 tall tire. This is not a big tire combo whatsoever. And it still works even in a parking lot. I have to get going, even from my size tire, to start moving. So you can try the fluid flush. Second thing, put yourself a nice power steering pump on here. This is just a cheap reman from O'Reilly's. I've had to put 2 on this truck. This one seems to be doing pretty well, but it's starting to whine a little bit. So I don't know if it's on its way out again or what the case may be, but the power steering hasn't lost any pressure, but it definitely hasn't gained any. So number 3 is to buy this aftermarket doohickey from PSC, part number SP-SD-FCV. This is the Ford C2 high pressure relief valve. Now, these trucks use a C2 style power steering pump integrated with the reservoir. Now, this little guy is a relief valve that goes right here on the side of the power steering pump, right where this 90-degree fitting is. And that's what we're going to be changing out in this video. And this guy is only a $22 part. What this does is basically this ramps up the pressure by almost another 200 PSI. It's advertised 150, but I'm no mathematician, so take it as you will and believe what you want. So we'll say it bumps the pressure up 150 PSI as advertised on the website. So I figure for 22 bucks, we make a video, see how it does. And other than that, let's go ahead and get to it. All right, you guys, so this is a 18 millimeter fitting, okay? We have a wrench, we have our fluid extractor. You guys can use a simple turkey baster. Keep in mind, once you guys disconnect this fitting, a little bit more excess fluid will leak out that we can't always get out of here. And then obviously when we disconnect the high pressure steering line, this is going to leak some from the Hydro Boost as well. All right, you guys, so I went ahead and I took actually the piece of hose off this pump right here. I just shoved it in there, was able to do it no problem, didn't make a big mess. You guys can see this fluid's not dirty. I mean, obviously the container's got some crap in it, but this looks very good for power steering fluid. So 18 millimeter wrench, You can see this white little O-ring. This is a Teflon O-ring we're going to have to replace. I have a pack of that and a part number to show you later. I took my carton from lunch, ripped the styrofoam top off and using that as a drip pan. Fits pretty nice actually. So we can go ahead and move this line out of the way. What I'm going to do is I've got some fluid I'm going to run in this. I'm going to explain that here in the next video, or the next clip you guys will see here in a few seconds, of the fluid that I used to run. Now I'm going to go ahead and switch to try to help the whine on these power steering pumps because it is driving me insane. And it's so annoying, especially when you have an occupant in the vehicle with you. You guys hear a faint, and I'm sure a lot of you guys can contend to that as well. I really don't care if it's the right fluid or not. I really don't care what you think. Regardless, I still make a video and I still get free views from you. So anyways, this is what I'm currently running in the truck, the red stuff you guys saw, the Seafoam Trans-Tune. This is on a couple forums of people using this to flush the system. They'll flush the system with this stuff, they'll fill it up, and it actually works pretty well. This stuff works in hydraulic fluid, transmissions, power steering systems, so it's actually meant for that stuff. This has detergents and modifiers in it to be able to work in hydraulic systems. Now, using this type of stuff is okay, and again, in a power steering pump situation, again, because it even says on the bottle, you guys can run this. Now, let's say you guys are running some normal ATF. The thing about ATF is it has friction modifying elements inside the fluid for transmissions. Now, obviously it's still a hydraulic fluid, obviously, because these trucks use a hydraulic fluid, ATF, for the power steering fluid. Now, it's not like a conventional car where, in this case, they use a power steering fluid, which is still a hydraulic fluid, but this does not have the friction modifiers, hence a ATF fluid does, to maintain high temperatures, friction, heat, like ATF does, where power steering fluid has its own cooler, but it doesn't need the additives and the friction modifier elements inside the fluid, and it doesn't break down like traditional ATF can get dirty, it can get deposits, and you have to change the filter. Now, power steering systems, yeah, you can put a inline filter, but really it's a bunch of bull crap. You guys change your fluid, put a nice fluid in it, make sure you guys' system is at optimal working condition. You guys shouldn't have any garbage in there. Now again, if you guys want to just try the Seafoam Trans-Tune, this stuff, they're expensive. It's like $20 a quart, and this system takes a little over a quart, so I think I used one of these and a couple ounces out of another one. That stuff worked great for a while. But this stuff here is what I'm going to be running. This Lube Guard fully synthetic power steering fluid. Again, before you little keyboard commandos and warriors and Democratic and Kamala Harris support this comment, that's the wrong fluid. I don't give two flying shizdas, okay? I really don't. Anyways, this is what I'm going to be running. This is a full synthetic power steering fluid, which this is technically a power steering system. It's the same damn thing. Now, I'm going to try this because some people have also went to a actual power steering fluid and it's actually fixed the whine. And if you guys see, contains superior anti-wear protection, eliminates steering noises and whines. This stuff's like $25 a quart. It's the only one I could get locally. I'm sure you guys could find something else like a Mobile One or maybe like a Valvoline power steering fluid that's a synthetic, but I didn't find any of that in my local parts store. This is what they had. I've used Lube Guard. It's pretty good stuff. I run it in all the generators that I have. And so this stuff's supposed to be good. It's a full synthetic, meaning it won't break down. It's not a semi-synthetic. It's a full synthetic. It's better for high heat applications. And this is probably better than using ATF because this doesn't have a bunch of the bullcrap additive and friction modifiers that ATF transmission fluid has. Now, as far as those Teflon seals you guys saw earlier, you can get these at any parts store. It's a Doorman help item. There's a part number there, 82540. You have a big and a small. You guys are going to use the big one, okay? You can use a smaller one if you need it for another application. All right, you guys, next step, we need to go ahead and pull this fitting out here. This big guy here, this unscrews from the power steering reservoir. And our fitting is going to be located right behind here. Then I go ahead and grab a wrench size for you, and I'll tell you what size that is. All right, you guys, 15/16 6-point fits that no problem. Using a 3/8 drive ratchet, we'll go ahead and loosen that by hand. All right, you guys, so here is a fitting we just took out. This actually holds in your power steering line. Then we have an O-ring here, and then this actually goes down to this nipple, which holds in your pressure relief valve, which this sits in front of like that inside the power steering pump. Now to get these out, I'm going to use a very small magnet like this guy. And I've been letting this drain off camera. I shoved a little container under there. And you guys can see we have a steady stream of clear fluid coming out. All right. And you guys can see there is our old pressure relief valve right there. You guys can see the flat machined head of it. And I've been flushing the fluid out. This is how to get majority of it out. Obviously, the gearbox, the lines, and the hydro boost is still going to be full, but I want to at least flush this bad boy out as much as I can. So using a magnet, we're just going to come in here. Let me collapse this down some, okay? This is going to make a mess, so just be careful. Carefully. It's going to start dripping more, as you guys can see. All right. Just pull it out using a magnet. All right, you guys, off camera I had to empty that container. It was starting to get full. You guys can see that's dripping. Our relief valve is out of there. And here it is. So there's our relief valve, just a little magnet. You guys can see this has a very fine mesh screen on it, which I don't see any dirt in mine. Let's go ahead and compare it to the old one. Here we are, guys. We have the old stock one on the left. We have the new PSC valve on the right. You guys can see their screen is different on the top there. And then secondly, if we lay these down side by side, you guys can really see the difference there. Stock one's on the left, you guys can see it has this extra shoulder material. This one does not. Stock one's a little bit shorter, the new one's a little bit longer. And then comparing the orifice size of the holes, you can see that one's pretty big, that one's pretty small. Side by side there as well. And that's where you guys get your added pressure, is the bigger orifices. So let's go ahead, get this installed using the same trick here, just a magnet. Gonna go ahead and push it right in. I've flushed the fluid a couple times and I've drained that container. So once you guys have drained it enough, let's go ahead and put our new fitting in. All right, you guys, you can see the fluid out of there is still a little red, but it's gonna take some time to clear that out 100%. All right, take our new fitting, take our new pressure relief valve, stick a magnet to the ass end of it. I'm gonna go ahead and just carefully push that back inside, use our thumb, make sure that is seated all the way down. There's going to be a spring in there, so make sure you guys spring that in, okay? And it should sit in there just like that. You guys should have a good lip all the way around. And there you go. All right, you guys, a little bit of a mess, but it's to be expected. Put some kitty litter down in the driveway. You're gonna leak some fluid, it's just inevitable. Anyways, we have our new fitting in, and we have our threaded collar back on. You guys can see we already have some ATF coming out. So it means we have a nice good seal and that O-ring's not leaking. Go ahead and wipe your threads off. Now we can go ahead and replace the Teflon O-ring on this line here, just using a simple scribe. You can see this one's not too bad, but these are really like a one-time use. You can see how that one's kind of angled. All right, there's our new Teflon O-ring. Just use a scribe. Now it will need to be stretched a little bit. You guys can see it's kind of loose now, but that's normal. I've done plenty of these. They all have a little bit of play like that. I like to use a 90-degree scribe. What I'll do is if it gets caught on the threads, what you guys can do is basically take the threads on the scribe and spin the fitting while you guys put the scribe inside the grooves, and it'll move the O-ring up. And then just be mindful you guys don't nick or cut this Teflon O-ring. All right, now this is going to just simply sit inside this fitting here. All right, you guys, there it is, all tight. Now these do move, so don't freak out. You guys will have some play like that. Even brand new lines and customers' trucks I've replaced, they have play like that. You guys can zip tie them up out of the way so they don't move, but they're supposed to move like that. Again, it's just how they're made. So take your extra O-ring, put that in your box for something else. Let's go ahead, top the system off. I'm gonna leave everything disconnected here, the charge pipe and the intake, just to make sure we don't have any leaks. You guys can see I've got some residual we have to clean up, but some Dawn dish soap will take care of that for us. All right, our return on the top's on. Fluid is full in the reservoir. All right, you guys, I got two 4-ton jacks up underneath the radius arms on the lower end. Got the front end suspended just to put less strain on the system while bleeding it. Some 3/8 fuel line into a container. Pull off your return, which is this guy up here, okay? That's 3/8 line. Just using 3/8 fuel line into a bucket, a container, whatever you want to use. And basically, you can sit here and turn the wheel, but really what gets the fluid to return is when you pump the brake. So have somebody sit in the driver's seat with the ignition or the truck running, and have somebody sit in the driver's seat, pump the brakes. You watch this fluid, you watch this go down. It empties this reservoir pretty quick, and it's going to return into your container that you're using. Do that a bunch of times, and then when you guys get clear fluid, if you guys decide to, you know, go the method I'm going with, full synthetic power steering fluid, or if you guys want to just flush your entire system of old ATF, works the same way. And you guys can see we're completely topped off, and this stuff is nice and clear. A bunch of ATF came out, stank really bad, just like your mother, but ATF never smelled good anyways. Gonna go ahead, pull my bleed line off, put our stock return back on using the factory clamp. Gonna put it back down on the ground, clean this up here, we'll take it for a ride. All right, you guys, went to dirt and squirt, clean the truck off, degrease everything. You guys can see it's less messy in here. And here is our old relief valve. Obviously, we went ahead and installed the new one. The best upgrade you guys can do for your power steering pump is that $20 relief valve from PSC. I 100% recommend it. Driving it around town, the couple miles I have on it now, definitely worth the upgrade. It's very quiet. Originally backing up out of the driveway, usually I'll get a whine from the pump. I don't have any of that. And the first thing I noticed when I hit the brake pedal backing out of the driveway to put it in forward, or put it drive to go forward, is you barely touch the brake pedal now, and the brake pedal has more pressure, or it's more firmer, you could say. You don't have to push the brake pedal as far. You barely touch the brake pedal and it's stopping, which is a very nice upgrade as well, especially if you guys have big wheels and tires or anything over a 35. So if you guys enjoyed this video, remember leave a like, comment down below. Please subscribe, guys. We are so close to 4,000 subscribers. Last time I checked, we're at 3,999 or 90, I believe it is. So make sure you guys subscribe, share with your friends and family.